What's up? Good morning, guys. How we doing? We are 15 seconds out here of bar number 8. Now, after that big, strong push off the rip, 6 and 7 have me waiting for bar number 9, even if 8 looks kind of nice here. So personally, I'm going to wait for bar 9, which is perfect, because we are 5 minutes out, baby. You are looking at a 5-minute chart on Nasdaq futures. This is, of course, the December NQ contract. We're copy trading, take profit trader, and Apex accounts. Let's see what we can get done here today. 4:40 out. Good morning, guys. How we doing? Hey, Javaz, Leo, how we doing? Outlaw, good to see you. Good morning. Brandon, Mario, what's up, guys? Let's get to work. John, good morning. Derek Roy, Big Lurt, how we doing? John B, Stealth. What's up, guys? All the regulars, man. All right, 3 minutes, 46 seconds. Gonna keep an eye on that 20 EMA as well, though. But if we get a reasonable bear body, closing like up in this region here, that's plenty of room for me. Just risk the signal bar, see if we can get a push. ATR about 32, by the way. That's not too bad. Not too bad. ATR kind of coming back in here the last... well, I'll say the last 2/3, we'll say, of yesterday, and then this morning. So let's hope ATR stays, well, I mean, let's hope it stays above 10, right? But ideally above 30 would be tremendous. Stay above 30, currently 32 here on the ATR. All right, 9, what you got for us? Oh, you bulls! Don't do it, bulls. Let's let these bears take this baby down. Give us a nice, clean setup. Otherwise, if the bulls bounce this back up, we got to start looking at, hey, do we enter a trading range, right? So hopefully the bulls can't hold this up too long. And if they are going to hold it up, let's take it up through the highs and keep going. All right, minute 35 out. All right, 45 seconds out here from the close. The more the bulls pop this higher, the bigger that wick up top gets, and even if we do get a reversion and a nice bear body, then the signal bar gets a little large. All right, here comes the close of 9 into the open of 10. Big ol' inside close there out of the bulls on 9. Let's see what 10 brings. Now, I know somebody listening right now, probably a few of you, shorted that whole move and blew up some evals or some accounts, right? You're like, yeah. Listen, I talked about this like a day or two ago. Humans by nature, when it comes to the market at least, are contrarians. Everyone thinks they're smarter than everyone else, and they're like, oh, these foolish bulls. This is gonna pull back. It's like, okay, yeah, probably at some point it's going to pull back. You're not wrong. You know what the problem is? Timing it. That's the problem. That's always been the problem. It's never not been the problem. If you're shorting into strong, clean, closed bull bodies, what, you think you're just going to pick the top and all of a sudden the momentum's just going to die because you're so special you got short? Maybe. Maybe you'll get lucky. And by the way, how do you plan to manage that risk? Because on the close of 3, on bar 2, on the close of 4, you know, depending how you manage the close of 4 if you did get short. But on 2 and 3 especially, you're at high of day after the bell. So your stop has to be arbitrary. Where are you going to put it? Are you going to hold yourself accountable to where you put it? Or are you going to say, it's arbitrary anyway, let me move it. Give this thing more room. And then all of a sudden the accounts are blown. And you probably added along the way. You probably added on 3, added on 4, added on 5, added on 6. And they're gone. Being a contrarian, if you see something that other people you feel like are not on average seeing, can make you a lot of money in investing. In intraday trading, in order to have the leverage that you need, the leverage, right? Like in futures, there's built-in leverage, which is great for intraday if you manage your risk properly. In order to have that, you can't keep adding forever. The market can go a whole hell of a lot further than you think it can. So how are you going to time it? How are you going to manage your risk? This is why if the market's making a strong push, until something changes, again, according to the RAM framework, and according to logic and common sense, if we're in a big bull trend, you got to be looking, hey, any reason to get long, but it has to be a good reason. That's it. Until we get 3 really strong bear bodies forming continuation setup back downside, or until we enter a trading range, you're not even thinking about the short side. Like, why make your life harder? And I'm telling you guys, I fought back on that for a long time. For a long time. In the early days, I was the guy who was like, you know, you'd hear people say, the trend is your friend, you know, work with the trend. And it's like, okay, well, you know, you don't seem to be that good of a trader. Why would I listen to you? Right, and then I go bet against the trend and get blown out. Stop doing that. It's human nature to want to be a contrarian. So if you think about it this way, maybe this will break the habit for you. You think you're really smart being a contrarian. Guess what? So does every other losing trader. Everyone else is thinking the same way as you who is losing. Turns out it's not so smart, is it? All right, there's a close of 10 after that close of 9 coming into the 20 EMA. So let's see what 11 does here. No one wants to admit that they were the one who shorted the move. I get it. I get it. It's all right. All right, 325 out here. Come on, Bears. The Bears can get 11. Keep it small up top. Take us down through. Close us at, 25.65. Keep it small up top, Bears. The more those bulls take that inside, take that higher, inside the, bar 10, the more we got to risk on the signal body, the signal bar, if we get a setup. So keep that small up top. All right, minute 35. Bulls taking it right back up toward the open of 10. Gotta start thinking, hey, maybe we enter a trading range here. Gotta be careful. Oh, Bulls! Taking that baby higher. All right, let's see if this turns into a big trading range from, well, I guess the wick lows of 10 and 11, this area in general, and this area in general. If 12 here, the bar that just opened, can take us higher up through the trading range without a doubt, then all of a sudden we might have something on our hands. Christian, what's up, brother? How we doing? All right, until further notice, we got to be thinking range, range, range. Now, we have not had a couple of tests on either side yet, but just the price action in general. Right now, we're looking at range, range, range. And again, until further notice, that can change very fast. But we got to have reason to believe that it is changing, that is. Joe, what's up, big dog? How we doing? Oh, by the way, haven't mentioned this at all. There's a new sale at Apex. Got word last night, let the Discord know. They're back to 80% off, baby. They've been 50 for a little while. Apex is back to 80, $85 lifetime activation fees, which is tremendous. Use code BIG, B-I-G. That actually ends. They're only running it for a little less than a week this time, so go hit that up. All right, 12, what you got for us? Come on, pop us up through. 238 out. All right, Roy. Go get those passed. All right, 2 minutes here. Bar 12 really doing a whole lot of nothing thus far. All right, 30 seconds here till the close of 12. Range, range, range. Don't lose sight of the context here. Until something changes here, you just gotta keep telling yourself it's a range, it's a range, it's a range. Then finally when you get a breakout, and a close or two clean, well outside of the range with a setup at play, that's when we can say, okay, now we can bet on the break. At least according to Ram, but you know what? Do whatever you want. You're a grown-up. All right, 13. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, just, straight up, like with Apex, again, right now it's 80% off with the cheap lifetime activation fees. You can pass in one day, though you don't have to, with code BIG. Straight up. Is Apex gonna run 90% for, Thanksgiving maybe, Christmas, probably? Yeah, I mean, probably. They don't tell any of us. Okay, so I don't know. But they probably are, right? But it's 80%, right? Right now, today, it's 80% off. And you guys, I mean, listen, you know how I feel for myself for opportunity cost. Like, what are you gonna do? Wait and gamble and see, oh, I hope they run 90% off soon so I can get it for $15 cheaper. Like, come on, big man, you're trying to make money. $15, big dog, come on. Like, the time is so much more valuable. Like, use your head, man. You gotta go think a little bit bigger than what you're doing if that's your thought process. Now, I get it. There's only so much money to go around for, if you're in that situation. I get it. Totally get it. But if your goal is like, I'm trying to get out of this situation, and your goal is to do extremely well, whatever that might mean to you. Again, we don't have to put a number on it. You know what I mean? It's a mindset thing. Something to think about. That was a very important shift for me to make. That was crucial. Crucial. A confusing way to put this is you got to respect money more. Let me put it this way. You got to respect your ability to make a lot of money more. To the point where you respect money less. Kind of understand what I'm saying? The old adage people say, what's the old phrase like? Oh, fuck. I don't even know the phrase because I just disagree with it so much. It's like if you watch your pennies. What's the stupid saying? Someone knows it. You watch your pennies, it turns into dollars or something. It's like, come on, man. No one's getting rich in 2025 watching their fucking pennies. I'm not saying be irresponsible. Yeah, Josh, penny saved is a penny earned. Watch the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves. No, they don't. Offense. That's all defense. Man, defense is a way to play, but if you're all about defense and you're like, I hate offense, all I want to do is play defense, which means like, watch your pennies. You're not willing to invest in yourself. You don't want to bet on you, which shows a complete lack of belief in yourself, which how do you expect to do anything at that point? Around here, man, if you disagree with what I'm saying, then this ain't for you. At least you probably don't want to hang out here. I believe in all offense. All defense does is distract you from producing. All offense. We're not trying to win the Super Bowl here. We're trying to make money and provide for our families. Just play offense. Now, don't be an idiot. Don't be completely insanely irresponsible like a dumbass. But do everything you can to play as much offense as humanly possible so you're not going homeless. You know what I mean? Like, we're reasonable, but go hard. All right, 15 seconds out here on 13. You know, people always say like, oh, you got to have respect for the almighty dollar. It's like, that's weird, dude. You're putting money on this weird pedestal that I think is fucking weird. You know, respect yourself. Don't respect the money. Fuck money. It's fake. It's all made up. It's all pretend. Who gives a shit? You know, I was in this weird box like early on. I was like, man, 10,000 a month. That's like that's a ridiculous hill to climb. It's all made up. It's not. If you have the respect for yourself, you're like, dude, there are people out there that I feel like I'm smarter than. This is you talking to yourself. That I feel like I'm smarter than. I have more discipline than. And they're making like 12 million a month. What the fuck is going on? You start thinking that way, all of a sudden it's like your respect for money goes down and your ability to make it skyrockets over time. You gotta have more respect for yourself and, in my opinion, less respect for the almighty dollar. What a fucking weird way to think. Who cares? It's a dollar. It's money. It's all made up. It's fake. It's a tool to make your life better. It's for you. It exists for you and your family. You don't respect yourself enough and you respect money too much. Just one man's opinion. All right, 14. What do we got here? Yeah, you know, Cody says, yeah, sure, a bag of candy is fake food, but if you're starving, you're going to value it a lot. You know, everyone, I get it. I know. I'm not speaking from a place that I've never, it's not like I've never been there. 100%, big dog. But I'm saying, I'm just telling you guys what, like, from my perspective, that's all I can do. The best thing I ever did for myself. The best thing I ever did was have more respect for myself and less respect for money, force myself to think that way, even when me and my now wife were broke as fuck. I had to think that way. How's anything ever gonna happen if I don't think that way? I mean, what am I gonna do? Sit there and say, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve that. I mean, come on. I don't have it, so I don't deserve it. Like, fuck all that, man. You're you. Minute 20 out. 14, let's go 14. What do we got for us? Let's see how 14 closes up. All right, so 50 seconds out here. Interesting look here on 14. Now, context here is still the early stages of a potential trading range, which I would draw like that. But we have an option here to take a trade on 14. Now, it's a slightly earlier option, lower probability, maybe a bit of a boost in the reward to risk. So let's get started here. As that grows, the more willing I am to take that. So let's take a look. All right, 20 seconds out. Ready here, looking at bar 14. We're gonna go ahead and get the copy trader engaged. 10 seconds. If 14 can close nice and high, I don't want to see much wick on this baby at all. then I've got a stop limit buy. That's not much wick at all, so I'm going to go ahead and place that guy, boom, right there. Give that about 20 seconds-ish to give me a fill. Just 20 seconds because that risk of the range. That's, you know, it's a little better than a 15-second setup, but I'm not going to give it 30. Just because we still have this risk of a trade in range. So, 3 seconds, do we get a fill? No fill, no trade. Pull it. Pull it. Let's watch 15 here. How do you decide how much time to give it? Till you pull it. Quality. Discretionary decision, quality. Like an A setup. I'll give it maybe 30 seconds. You know, maybe a B plus setup, I'll give it maybe 20. Yeah, B minus 15. If I'm like, yeah, it's close to an A setup, but something's a little off, I'll maybe give it 20, 25. Discretionary, you get better. It's always between 15 and 30 though for me. You know, I mean, I guess unless it's like a setup that looks the cleanest I've seen in, you know, 3 months. And it's a big drive out of the hole and the reward to risk is ridiculous. And I'm looking at it and I think this probability is like 70%. Maybe I'll give it 60, but that's not going to happen too often. 15 and 30, somewhere between there. You might say, isn't that kind of arbitrary? Yeah, exactly. It's arbitrary. 100%. But I think that a lower quality setup probably needs quicker resolution for me to be comfortable being in that trade. If it's a lower quality setup, like a B minus setup, and I don't get a fill in the first 15, 20 seconds, man, something's kind of wrong. So pull it. All right, 210 out. Hey, Peter, what's up, my man? Steel requested a $1,200 Apex payout yesterday. Awesome work, Steel. Let's go. Gonna be crazy for some of you guys. Some of you guys who start small, get that confidence going. When you have the confidence, the discipline becomes easy. All of a sudden, doesn't have to take long. You might look up a month from now and be like, holy shit. In the last 2 weeks, I've taken more in payouts than I make in a month at my job. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you guys, that's not like unreasonable at all. All right. Bar 15, closing up here, coming into 16. You know, Mega, I'm so serious. Don't LOL at that. You took a payout. Do you understand the statistics on how few traders take payouts? You know what most prop traders do? They go buy one eval, two evals for $31 and they blow them because they gamble. And then they go tell everybody. They spend their time on the internet telling everyone how prop firms are a scam. What fucking losers, right? You're in that elite club of people who have taken payouts. Now, all you have to do is scale the amount. You've done the thing. There's proof of concept. The amount of the first, 100 payouts, let alone the first payout, is irrelevant. With every request, you have more and more and more and more proof of concept. Just keep scaling horizontally. That's all you gotta do. All right, this big trading range looks like we were correct, at least for the short term here. Not getting a fill on 14. I mean, that right there, that's why I give it 20 seconds only. And by the way, guys, like a lot of you guys, if your first payout is, from whatever company, like $500, let's say. I know you're like, okay, that's great, but that's, $500 is not, it's really not, a lot in the real world. It doesn't last you that long. Even if you're like living on the cheap, which is, a situation, not like a lifetime curse. It's just, you happen to be there, that's fine. So get out of that, right? Because it sucks, obviously. But you take a $500 payout from one account, well, what would happen if you did that on 20 accounts and you did it, a couple times a month? All of a sudden, maybe that's your biggest month ever. You're like, well, it's not a lot. Okay, but scale horizontally, right? That's the entire point. right, bar 16, half decent close. We might get something here on 17. Let's see if the bulls can put this obvious little range potential soft bull channel to rest and give us a nice clean bull body close up top. Let's see if they can do that for us. Yeah, exactly, Roy. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like, that first time you trade an eval, you're like, all right. And then it just becomes business as usual. You just try to get through them as quickly as you can, keep the win rate, or I guess the pass rate, you know, reasonably high. Then you get into funded, it's like, oh, the nerves. And then you get some payouts under your belt, it's like, whatever. I just do my job, and that's what happens. You guys are building this up in your head. You really are. Eventually, you know, you're going to get some under your belt. You're going to be like, it's just going to rip the Band-Aid off. You'll be desensitized. You'll show up to work, do your job, and I'm dead serious. You might look back a few months from now and be like, your life's completely different. All right, this isn't like some motivational speech. That's just fucking real life. It does not have to take a long time at all. It's just, can you be patient? Can you have discipline? Can you do the same thing every day when you know you're supposed to do it and not when you're not? All right, 17. Come on now. See this baby break higher. Give us a couple of clean closes. Love to hear it, Bo. Keep that moving. I know that a lot of you guys are, because I've been told this by people, not only in the stream, but especially people that are, in the tomb. Even though it's only been like a couple weeks, it seems like people are really getting a whole lot of value. I'm really hoping that you guys are starting to see that it's like, oh, you have this moment of clarity that you never really knew was coming. You're like, is this feeling of confusion gonna last my whole career? Yeah, well, how do I know that you're thinking that? Because I was there, dude. Yes, we've all been in the exact same position. Within reason. You have this moment of clarity when you find something that is low stress, easy to make decisions on, not that hard to be patient on because you're just waiting for the thing. And then you're like, oh, I do this when that happens. Great. And is giving you some kind of consistent result that you've never seen before. You're like, feels weird. Why do I have so much clarity? And why does this feel so, easily repeatable each day? To just do my job, accept the outcome, and come in the next day. Yeah, because like this is what it feels like when you get to the point where you're finding some kind of consistent result. It doesn't have to be that stressful to do really well. Like, you don't have to live in this fight or flight 24/7 mode that we all feel like in the early days. You know, you get up for the day, you're like nervous. You're like, oh man, that goes away, man. It doesn't, you don't want to live like that. And I'm not saying, ooh, just make $6,000 a month and don't be too greedy. The fuck? Life is so expensive. Make as much as you can. Like, obviously. But even when you're doing big numbers, like, this does not have to be so stressful. You want to enjoy your life. You didn't get into trading to be high stress 24/7. You know, and give yourself health problems to make a little extra money. That's not why you're here. Hopefully. You don't have to make that trade either. You don't have to say, okay, in order to make more money, I need to be super stressed out all the time. No, that's the opposite of the point. All right, 18. Again, range, thinking nothing other than range until we get a reason to do something here that is not inside of this big range that kind of started on bar 5, 6. Down through 11, up through 16. Biblical, good morning. How we doing? Yeah, you'll get through it, Eric. You don't want to live like that for too long. Just be patient with the setups. Do what you know you should do. Follow the methodology, and I think you'll do very well. I'm not trying to say it's easy, by the way. When you're in that high cortisol point, high stress, it's human nature to want to fix everything right now, because you're not really trying to fix the problem. You're just trying to run from the pain, and you know that fixing the problem will fix the pain. One of the hardest things to do is set that aside. I get it, but you're gonna have to do it. Set it aside. Let it work for you. Gotta be patient with the charts. You know, like right now, if you're trading this, you're probably getting chopped to hell. If the market, you know, easy rule of thumb, if the market cannot decide what the hell to do, how are you supposed to? Z! What's the tomb structure like? Will I miss anything joining late? No. The way that I've structured it is, like, as you continue to be in the tomb, so even if you join later and later and later, there's just more and more and more value, to the point where eventually it's this ever-growing library of content, because I'm posting videos in there every day. I do a tomb talk after market close every day, giving insight and answering market questions. Sorry, and answering member questions. And just general psychological lessons that I feel are necessary for that particular day. Like I did one on red days the other day when I know a lot of people were getting killed. And people seem to love it. So eventually we'll get to a point where there's like damn near endless hours of content in there. There's already a shitload of hours of content in there. It's only been like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's all still relevant. It doesn't lose relevance. I make sure of that. All right, 18 just basically covering the entirety of 17 here. So again, range. Don't lose sight of context. You know, with these single bar back and forth ranges, guys, for me, gotta stay out of this stuff. Market can't decide. How could you? You know, you might, all right, let me buy the close of 17, sell the close of 16. When it's a single bar back and forth and it's a relatively tight range, it's really hard to make the math work. Even if you can win a few in a row, it's really hard to know, like, well, how do I manage my risk? Where do I take profit? It's kind of a tight channel. I find it best to leave these little, single bar back and forth ranges alone. It will break. Just got to be patient. Oh, you market. All right, 19 here. We're a minute 43 out. And it is doing nothing. It'll break. ATR is 38, man. This baby's going to break, and it's going to pick a direction and go. And when it does, we're going to be ready. I kind of hope it picks down. Just because you guys know. Again, hey, if I had to pick... Let's put investing aside, right? Intraday trading, day trading, and let's say futures, specifically like Nasdaq. If I could only trade intraday one direction forever, which is kind of an irrelevant question because that's not true, but if I could, I'd probably have to pick to the short side, right? It just tends to be more aggressive to the short side because human emotion comes into play. But either way, man, we don't care. We don't care around here. We'll take whichever way it goes as long as there's a setup. Both the Bulls and Bears pay very well. Yeah, right. I think that's a good way to look at it, honestly. You know, again, if you're in a pinch right now, sure, you got to wait till 80 or 90% off. But like at some point, the opportunity cost is just too expensive. And every day that passes, it's like, let's just go, man. All right, bar 20. See what you got for us. Yep, you can pass in one day. If you want, you can pass in one trade just to prove a point. But yeah, there's no like minimum time frame to pass in eval with Apex. None at all. Zero minimum time frame. ATR holding up. 36. Really want to see that ATR hold. It might even expand when we finally see a couple of consecutive bodies breaking out of this little range here. I'd really call this a wedge. If you look back a little bit more, but you know, looking from maybe 13, 12, 13, bar 12 or 13. More of a sideways trading range. Yeah, Stealth, listen, if you sign up and use code BIG when you sign up, there's zero minimum as far as passing. Like, just to make it, what I'm saying, clear, not that I recommend this, but just to make it clear, if you took a trade and then Trump tweeted and you passed in 3 seconds, you will still get the email from Apex that night that says, hey, you passed, activate your funded account. So, now you got to use, you know, code BIG when you sign up, but it's a win-win. I mean, you get a discount, so. All right, Bulls, Bears, somebody bar 20 here. Let's see this baby just fall off a cliff. Minute 45 out. Nate says, does code BIG also waive the activation fee? Nate, it does at Take Profit Trader. Take Profit Trader is 40% off and no activation fee when you pass if you use code BIG. But at Apex right now, code BIG is going to give you 80% off, and then it does not waive the activation fee. Apex does not currently do that. It's a different business model that they have. But if you use code BIG, again, it brings the activation fee, the lifetime, from 140 down to 85. That's part of the promo right now, okay? So you get 80% off. This is Apex. 80% off. You can pass in 1 day. They don't have a minimum. And you can pay the lifetime activation fee 85 instead of 140. So all in, it's a very, very good deal at Apex right now. All right, bar 20. That's enough talk, man. Let's break this baby out and get this moving. We've got work to do. But can't do any work if there's nothing to work on, right? All right, 21. Yeah, they're coming, Joe. They are coming. I'm not sure exactly when they're going to release them, but Apex did tell me that they're coming. Which is kind of nuts. I wonder what they're going to cost. Honestly, it might make sense to just... Like, most of us are good enough at passing the evals that it might make sense. But if they're reasonably priced at Apex, I gotta tell you, I might just... I don't know. Like, if I need an account, I might just buy the straight to funded to save the time. But if they're like a lot more expensive, then, you know, just pass an eval quick, activate it, and you're good to go. But if it's like pretty reasonably priced. It might be worth it to just pay up and save the opportunity cost of having to work in the eval. So we'll see what they come priced in at. Again, I don't know when they're releasing them, but I keep getting told soon. Yeah, so Kevin, you guys, these are my thoughts on the straight to fundeds, okay? Kevin says, if you can pass an eval in 1 day at Apex and they cost, he meant $40 or less, how does that make sense? So, the straight to fundeds are kind of geared, they make sense for two types of people. If somebody's really struggling to pass an eval, they're like, screw it, let me just buy the straight to funded. Now, I don't think that that's a good idea, right? Because you're not going to perform well in the funded if you can't perform and pass an eval. But that's an option for them. But you know who really is going to make a killing on the straight to fundeds? I don't know if I should be saying this. Oh, fuck it, let's say it. The people who have so much edge that they're like, you know, could I get into funded a lot cheaper by just passing the eval instead of, yes. But I have so much trading edge and so much positive expected value that it does not make sense for me to spend the extra time trading the eval, even if I can pass it in like 30 minutes. I'd be better off financially just paying up for the straight to funded and spending that 30 minutes in the funded. That's a reality for a lot of us here. Okay, so we'll see what they come priced at. Again, they're not out yet, the straight to funded at Apex, but they will be soon. And we'll see what they're priced at. And I'll let you know my thoughts then. "45 seconds out. ATR sitting still at 36, just in this brutal little sideways trading range. Absolutely nothing here until this thing picks a direction and goes. At least 2 consecutive bodies. Closing outside of the range. All right, 22, what you got? All right, guys, I'm going to take a couple minute break. I'll be right back. It's time to pull out the old trick. I'm going to come back. This thing's going to be 75 points one direction or the other. All right? Back in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. All right, welcome back. Come on, Bears. Take this baby down through 2 minutes, 12 seconds out here from the close of bar 23. Let's see if these bears can take us down. If the bears could if the bears could take us down and give us a close, like here in this region, below the wick low 13 would be tremendous. I'd love to put that on as a short. Love to. Looking at the wick low of 11 potentially. So let's see. Let's see if they can do it for us. Minute 40 out. All right, monkey, let's find out, big man. Yeah, reasonable bet. Can't bet on the breakout until the breakout gives, at least according to RAM, you cannot bet on the breakout until the range has actually broken with a bar or two with a setup. And you get a close well outside the range ideally, or two closes, even better. If that has not happened yet, under the framework of RAM, if you're going to do anything, it has to be a bet on the range. "20 seconds here till the close of 23. Oh, you balls. Trying to take it right back up into the trading range. Yeah, and until you see a break with confirmation, if you are trading RAM, until you see that, until you get it, and it can't just break. For me, I got to see at least a close, if not two, outside of the range with consecutive bull or bear bodies to take a bet against the range, meaning continuation outside of the range. So you see that, again, if you're going to do anything, you got to bet on the range. The probability of the range breaking on any given attempt, I'll say this again, the probability of the range breaking on any given attempt to break it is quite low. Maybe something like 20%. So, I would bet there's a decent amount of you guys watching right now. I would bet there's at least a couple of you guys out there. At least, probably more. That the entire reason you have not found consistency yet is because you keep betting on breakouts in ranges and you don't understand that the probability of it working is like 20% until you get some kind of, more reasonable confirmation. Like I just said, 2-3 consecutive bull or bear bodies closing outside of the range. At least one or two of them closing well outside of the range. If you're getting short on bar 22 because you're like, all right, this is the one. Or you're getting long on 18 because you're like, this is the one. Stop doing that. Stop it right now and you're going to perform a whole lot better. Never tell yourself this is the one that's going to break, because chances are it's not. All right, 24, give us a nice close way up top, and then 25, take us out of this thing. And then all of a sudden, we've got something to do. But we can't take that bet, because again, probability of it happening is less than 25%, probably about 20%, 15, 20%. All right, 25, let's see what you got. Chris B, I'm consistent as hell in my funded account, but I just blew an eval in 12 minutes. What's wrong with me? I mean, Chris, did you take reasonable trades? I mean, isn't that kind of the problem you'd want to have? You're super consistent in the fundeds, and you're aggressive in the evals, so you aren't spending 4 days in an eval. Opportunity cost is a real thing. Now, I know everyone's going to look at that and say, oh my god, you blew an eval in 12 minutes? Dude, you guys are... Once you have positive expected value, you need to detach yourself from a fucking eval. Who cares? Just pass it. Get it passed. Hopefully you're not passing 20% of them. But if you're passing more than half your evals, man, you're doing pretty damn well. And then get in the fund. The evals, they're too cheap to care so much about it if you have positive expected value. The opportunity cost is too expensive. Now, if you did something really stupid, that's another thing. But if you took reasonable trades... Yeah, Javaz, Apex does not limit you on eval purchases. The only limit they have is you can't have more than 20 activated fundeds at once. I mean, but you can buy as many evals as you want. I know a lot of people hold evals as like backups. You just got to be aware that if you hold it for more than a month, you will get charged at 50% off for the second month. Okay, so bar 25 is a good bar, but, you know. You gotta think range, range, range. This exists, like, anywhere around here. Don't overthink it. This one down here exists anywhere around here. Don't overthink it. So unless we got some crazy close out of 25, 26 might be my golden child. Let's see. Come on, Bulls, hold that baby up. At least give us a reasonable close. You can see the bears are saying, nah, this is a trading range. Context. Under RAM, context is always number one before setup. That's correct. Before setup, context is number one, setup is second. See that? Bear's taking it right back into the range. That's why you shouldn't. Put it this way, you do whatever you want. You make money a lot of ways. RAM is just one of many methodologies of trading, you know, that can work for you. But a lot of people will buy the break of this wick high of 16 as soon as it breaks. They're ignoring the context that this is a trading range and the probability of 25 actually going a long ways is not that high. Now it gets better if 25 shoots higher and closes way the hell up here. It gets better probability, right? But a lot of times, more often than not, in a trading range like this, you're just going to get this ugly, ugly, ugly close on 25. So, see what 26 has got. See that? Bears right back into the range. There you go. That's why context is number one. Range, range, range until it's not. We just had this conversation, didn't we? Yep, that's right, Tom. That's right. Listen, I think if you're going to bet against a range before it is really the confidence of the range contrarians, in this case the bears, up top on 25. If you're going to bet against the range, meaning bet on the breakout before you get more like confirmation, right? Meaning a couple of closes, if not at least one strong close, very strong close outside of the range on a 5-minute chart. In this case, on a 5-minute chart. If you're going to bet against a range before the breakout has really happened, you need to be going for a pretty sizable reward to risk because the probability on your trade is very low. It just is. So if you're going to bet against the range before it has really proven to you anything, you need to be going for a much higher reward to risk to make the math work. Now, I say that coming from a place you guys know. Listen, I'll be all over the board. I don't care. I'm not the guy who's like, you have to trade 3-to-1 reward to risk. All that tells me is that you don't understand math and you don't understand trading if you tell me that. It's like, oh my God. That, to me, you know what that sounds like to me? That genuinely, to me, is the equivalent of if someone walked up to me and said, or any of you, someone walks up to you and says, if you want to put on muscle, the only thing you should eat all day long is eggs. That's it. You should only eat eggs, nothing else. You'd be like, well, that's like weird. That's a lot of opportunity that I'm leaving on the table. There's not a tremendous amount of high quality food options, really. You start dwindling it down, there's really only so many foods, right? But like, there's a lot more than eggs are great. I fucking love whole eggs, but like, that's not all there is. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of other options. Like maybe 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, sure. But like, there's chicken, there's beef, there's a whole lot of options. What about rice? What about potatoes? What about oats? They're like, nope, just eggs. It's like, okay, you got a lot to think about, big dog. So, we'll go high probability, negative reward to risk. We'll go low probability, bigger reward to risk. We'll go moderate probability, 1-to-1 reward to risk, and everywhere in between. The math can work a lot of ways. But all that to say, if you're going to bet on the breakout while the range is still in play, you got to be going for a big reward to risk because the probability is small. That's just a math problem. That's it. All right, 27. 3 minutes out. Big old trading range. Just keep telling yourself range, 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 range. If you're taking trades in this, it better be a range trade or a high reward to risk bet on a breakout, which again, I don't necessarily think is a great idea, but if you're going to do it, you can't be going, 0.5 to 1 reward to risk with a low probability. That math ain't mathin'. So 2.5 minutes out here. Let's see what 27 brings us on the close, man. All right, 27. Nothing there yet. Could this be setting us up? Just a heads up, I would also need 28. All right, 27. Now, still risk of a range here. It is still there, so I need to see 28. Now, if 28 gives us a nice bear close, easy decision making. This is very, very simple. RAM keeps your decision making stress free. If we get a nice low close out of 28, nice strong bear body, all of a sudden I got a stop limit sell present all wrapped up for the bears. But right now on that close of 27, the risk of a trading range is still too high for me to be comfortable. It's been kind of a long-lived trading range. And there you go. Looks like the bulls are thinking the same thing, at least right off the rip. Let's see. The gold line on screen, that's a 20 EMA here on the 5-minute chart. Which you guys know, I'm not really an indicator guy, but we throw it up there so we don't get dizzy and to keep us out of a trade every once in a while. If we get a nice continuation setup coming right into it when we have not really seen a test of it for a big chunk of the day. That's the scenario that it would make me hesitate and wait for one more bar. But that's it. That's it. Other than that, price action is king, not an indicator guy. Price action has treated me very well. Indicators have abused me, so. So, just kind of a thought here for, I know a lot of you guys are looking at that trading range and you're thinking, yeah, are there some reasonable trades that I wouldn't be mad at you in there? Yeah, 100%. If you wanted to short the close of 18, yeah, fine, that's reasonable. If you wanted to buy the close of 22, it's reasonable. It doesn't really go against RAM too much, but let me tell you something. The quality is lower. So I know some of you guys are like, well, what, should we be taking trades in there? Should you? I mean, depends. What's your quality threshold? The quality, there's less edge in there than there is on open market. A market that's opening up, volatility is maybe a little better in comparison. Not necessarily ATR, but you guys know what I mean, kind of. And there is a little more edge, in my experience, on the continuation stuff. There really is. The range stuff, there can be a little bit, yeah, 100%. It doesn't go against RAM if it's clear. Those single bar ranges, though, those are kind of like the worst. That's like the bottom of the barrel. As far as RAM setups, like, selling the close of 18, it just barely makes the cut, but I mean barely. The edge is probably the lowest out of anything I'd ever take. But, I just think for a lot of you guys, if you start giving yourself permission to trade that stuff, it's not going to treat you as well as the continuation stuff and the cleaner range stuff. And if anything, it's just going to frustrate you and make you trade bad stuff on top of it. Because if your quality slips a little bit, you're already out of the RAM framework. So I think it makes more sense, especially if your goal here is just keep taking payouts. Just wait. Chill out, be patient, wait for the quality stuff. Put it on, see if it works, accept the outcome, move on. Just relax. Relax. A lot of you guys, I get it, I'm the same way. Or I guess I was the same way. And, in the early days, you want to trade. You're here, you're at work. Let's work. Well, in trading, if you can wait while the market isn't giving you anything, it's going to treat you very well. The patience is gonna pay dividends. And then at the same time, you know, if you get 5 trades in an hour, you got to put them on. Right? This is cyclical. You might sit here for 3 hours with nothing, and then all of a sudden in 45 minutes, you've taken 3 trades. This is cyclical, right? So be patient. A lot of you guys, I get it. I get it. You're like, yeah, but I got to make money, man. Like, I got to work. I know. I feel that. But you would do better and make more money if you just chill the fuck out a little bit. Just relax. You get more leverage by being patient here. Just wait. Okay, it'll come. It always comes. Just wait. The fastest way to your destination is to slow down a little bit. Just a little bit. Be a little more patient. And you will get there faster. You know, it's kind of funny. I think, you know, people get into trading. Let's just look at, like, you know, baseline. Like, day one traders, they discover trading. I don't really remember my day one, honestly, as far as, like, when did I finally decide, like, all right, let's do this. I remember the period, but I don't remember the day. I think it was always kind of in my head a little bit. Even before I kind of knew what markets were. But, like, if you look at this, like, what's the reason for people to get into trading to begin with? I think a lot of us kind of lose sight of that a little bit, right? I definitely did early on, man. Well, the reason is to have a better life. If you really got to boil it down to 4 words. So what does a better life look like? Well, I mean, in modern day America, I mean, let's just be real. Ideally, you're making more money. At least minimum enough to be comfortable, to do what you want and have freedom. Well, you know, the freedom of that money can get you past what we already have, right? Which is already tremendous. But, you know, you do better financially, you have more freedoms, personal freedoms. So, if your goal is to have a better life, that's not it though, right? That's not all. All right, by the way, 29 here is looking nice. Let's see what bar 30 brings us. We're a minute 15 out from the close. We might finally have a half reasonable setup on 30, but we got to think range. Never lose sight of context. Context is always number one. You know, the money thing is not all. It's a big one. You know, again, I don't want you to lose sight. I'm big. Make as much as you possibly can. But there's other aspects to this. What's another really big aspect to having a better quote-unquote life? Well, I think having less stress is a big one. Stress sucks. Sucks. Being in that high stress, high cortisol environment constantly is awful. It just feels terrible. It's unhealthy. It just kills you from the inside out. That's a big part of it. You want to make more money with less stress. And, you know, I think a big gauge, honestly, this is going to sound kind of funny, but it's like, you know how in school, Sunday, I hated school, okay? But Sunday, midday to afternoon to evening to night slowly gets worse and worse and worse. Okay, bar 30 here could be our bar. Let's take a look. We gotta see. Big, nice, big bull body close, strong and clean. All of a sudden, I got a stop limit buy for the bulls here. We're 447 out. Let's see what we get. When you're in school, and for a lot of you guys work as well, you know, that the Sunday night, it's a real thing, man. You wake up Sunday morning, it's like, oh, we got a whole bunch of time. And then 1 o'clock rolls around. You're like, well, the day's going by kind of quick. And all of a sudden it's 4, and you're like, oh, man. And now it's 7:30, and now it's 10, and you're like, fuck. Kind of a silly, reasonable gauge is the less you feel that, the better things are, right? You want to feel that as little as possible with what you do on Monday. Ideally, in a perfect world, Sunday night would feel the same as Friday night. Ideally, right? Isn't that kind of the goal? And trading can provide that. Maybe Sunday night's better than Friday night because you like what you do so much. You're like, I don't want to not trade for a couple of days, man. I kind of want to get back to working because I like it. If that's the kind of the goal, then don't lose sight of that. So if you're sitting here at the charts, all that to say, what's my point here? If you're sitting here at the charts and you're high cortisol, high stress, you're confused, you don't know what to do, and you're fucking pissed. That's not the goal, dude. That's not why we're here. You want to chill out, sit, enjoy your time, whatever you do while you're waiting for the right setup to come. And when it comes, whether that's 12 times a day or once a day, you got to put it on, right? But when it or they come, put it on. Before that happens, hang out. You're still the word. You know, I know it feels like, well, I'm not really getting much done. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. It's a big part of it, man. Being patient is part of the job. You get paid to sit and wait. You just get paid all at once when the trade ends up working or when you take the deposit or the withdrawal out, you know, however often you do it, every week, every 2 weeks, every month. All right, halfway through this 5-minute bar, let's see what 30 gives us here. 90 seconds. Come on, bulls. Range, 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 range. Hit yourself in the head with a pan. If you start thinking this thing's breaking out, hasn't done so yet, man. Range, range, range. Until proven otherwise. Or given a half reasonable RAM setup to think otherwise and take the bet on otherwise, where you think the math, you know, over 100 trades works. All right, 30. Oh, big teaser bar. All right, tiny little bear doji there on the close of bar 30. Let's see what 31 brings. ATR sitting at 34, by the way. All right, Bulls, what do we got here on bar 31? Minute 45 out. Yeah, we are getting an announcement from Trump. What was it? I think it's at 2 o'clock. Yeah. All right, so we have a White House press briefing here at noon Central. And then we have a Trump, well, it's an announcement on cartels at 2 o'clock Central. So, probably not too much market moving action. All right, 12 seconds here till bar 31 closes up. Looks like it's going to be a big inside bar. You know, 32. That's a better close. Okay. Okay, let's see if 32 gives us some. If we get a nice, strong, growing bull body, nice and strong, closing well above the wick high of 30. Ideally, like, really strong. Like a repeat of, 29, maybe 28. 18. 4. Then I've got a stop loom buy for the bulls, but that's what it would take. Aside from that, we're thinking range, range, range. That is the preferred trade for me right now. Here on 32, if we can get that. All right, 32, let's do it to him. 345 out. Three minutes. Two minutes. Come on, Bulls, hold this baby up. Let's grow this thing a little bit. No insecurity, Bulls. Let's go. Hold that thing up. Well, we better pop over to the execution screen just in case. Just in case. Come on, you insecure bulls. Well, we can't hold this baby up. Well, we better get ready. I don't want to miss anything on a daily today. Just slow. All right, 15 seconds out. We're going to get the copy trader engaged just in case we get a nice last second adjustment pop here out of the bulls. Today has been kind of a slow day. basically in a range most of the day. I don't want to miss anything just in case. We're not going to get it here on bar 32, so on to bar 33. Let's see what 33 brings us. All right, 3 minutes, 5 seconds out here from bar 33 close. And looking half reasonable thus far. Now let's see if these bulls can get a little more security. Corey, what's up? How we doing? Good to see you. 220 out. Corey, appreciate you, brother. All right, minute 5 out. Come on, big 33. What do we got? Give us something to work with here. All right, let's pop over to the execution screen. Get ready to rock. All right, 20 seconds out. Copy trader engaged. Need to see bar 33 grow. Pop up through the wick high of 32. At least, and ideally, give us a much better pop than that. Inside close, that is just bull insecurity all written all over it. So nothing on bar 33, moving on. ATR dipping now below 30. We're at 29.3 on the ATR. Skeeto, how did you come up with RAM? What's the story? It's pretty simple, really. I went through hell for so long until I finally refined a methodology, price action based with my own spin, that worked for me. And I said, wow, if it worked for me after going through the hell that I did, this would work for other people. Right? So I'm like, all right, the wrench action method worked for me. Trade it if you want. If you don't want to, be my guest. But fucking finally worked for me, so give it a shot. I think you'll be happy. All right, ATR just below 30 here. Hey Nico, do you give any weight into distance from key levels into your trading decisions? Example, mean reversion to EMAs, volume weighted average price. Appreciate it, brother. Not too much. Not too much, unless the price action gives me something to work with. I do not deviate from the price action. I don't see a reason to. The price action is king. It's a tier above. It's many tiers above, in my opinion, any indicator. Even though the indicators can act as self-fulfilling prophecies, the price action is king. So I don't cheat on it. Because it treats me very well. Well, let's see how 34 closes up here. We're a minute 15 out. All right, 15 seconds here. All right, guys. Well, I'm off to hit lunch. I'll tell you what. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Hey, Tomb members, get your questions in before market close for today's Tomb Talk. And that'll be going out not too long after the market closes. All right, guys. Everyone here, I will see you back here again tomorrow morning. Let's hope the afternoon brings some more action. And tomorrow's going to be better, man. I know it. Volatility's good. ATR was in the mid-30s for a lot of this morning here. Still holding up 28. Volatility's good. This range just killed the edge today. But day's not over. Let's see what the afternoon brings here. I'll tell you what. See you guys tomorrow morning. Stay patient. The patience pays, man. I know it feels like you're not working when you're sitting there and doing nothing, but that's part of the job. You know when you're really not getting anything done? When you're buying bar 21. When you're getting short on bar 20. Come on, big dog. That's algo and degenerate territory. Be patient. You're getting a lot done while you're being patient, because all of a sudden you're going to have 4 trades in 45 minutes. You get paid all at once for the patience you showed all day. All right, guys. See you in the morning.